Today on the West Potomac Wolverine podcast, WPWP, we have Victor Fuentes, who will be the future president of the Young Republicans here at West Potomac. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you on today.
I'm glad to be here.
And next to him, we have Itiola Akingbola, who was the former president of the Young Democrats here at West Potomac High School. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And you?
I'm doing well. It's great to have you guys on today. Anything?
Should we put a trigger warning before we actually get started?
No, those are stupid.
Find your safe space.
What do you think? Find your safe space. Why do you think it's stupid, Victor?
I mean,
It's pretty universally agreed.
If you can operate a computer, I think you have the mental competency to be able to hear stuff you don't like. And if you don't, then sorry, bud. Real world's going to hit you like a truck.
I agree to an extent. I think that to be able to be successful in the real world, you have to be challenged. You have to be able to accept adversity and things you don't agree with. And hey, I mean, if for example you're on a college campus and you find things you don't agree with, debate it, and then it'll make you. It will do one of two things: change your perspective, or make sure you're well grounded in your own beliefs. So I think having safe space at this point is ridiculous. You're gonna have to be able in the real world to deal with people who are racist, who are xenophobic or whatever. You have to deal with that and keep it moving. I mean, slavery, like my ancestors didn't have a safe space. They were in chains. They had to deal with that. Civil rights movement, they didn't have a safe space. They had to get things thrown on them, cussed out, called slurs, and they kept it moving. So I don't think safe spaces are needed in the real world.
Well, here at the podcast, we're free to say whatever you guys feel.
Be careful with that.
which is funny. Where do you guys think that for free speech? Where do you think the line is drawn? Where do you think that is there even a line that is drawn?
I think free speech stops when people get physically hurt. I think when it seriously incites violence, when people get physically hurt, it should stop. Hate speech is protected. That's just the reality. I think that the left has become way too concerned about blocking speech that it's become illiberal. I mean, the definition of being a liberal is to be free and accept opposing points of view. So if the left becomes so concerned with blocking speakers or things like that on college campus that we're seeing, is it liberal? Is it still considered liberal to be blocking these people? It's kind of like we're trying to be so tolerant that we're becoming intolerant as like a party. And that's what I'm really worried about, like for my party.
I mean, I personally don't really. I don't think there is a line, because speech is just that. It's speech. I mean, if you get to the point where you have violence, then it's not really. It's more than speech. So that's not protected by the First Amendment. So just saying stuff somebody doesn't like, or hate speech. Obviously, Itiola, you mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
that's not. It's not illegal, and it never will be, God willing. And the way you make a society better is through the exchange of ideas.
I agree.
And the free exchange of ideas. And so that, with that being said, all ideas need to be heard, even the ones you don't necessarily agree with, or the ones that you personally find offensive. So it is an illiberal thing. It's an un-American thing for people to want to shut down speech that they don't like. And it really goes against everything that this country was founded on, because there's a reason the First Amendment comes first. It's because it's the most important.
And I think that, to add on to what Victor said, if we say that hate speech is banned, then we have to get into a deeper conversation of what is hate speech. What does Victor think hate speech is? What does she think hate speech is?
What I think is going to be hate speech is a lot different than what you think is hate speech.
Exactly, and so...
I mean, I don't think anything is hate speech.
But if he did, the conversation would be, okay, so what I consider hate speech, would that be what you consider hate speech? And it gets very tricky.
Subjective, yeah.
It's very subjective. So
and it completely opens up, it opens up a potential for, massive government shutdown of dissent. And that's something that we can't have. That's
not what should be, especially in this country, which prides ourselves on being a place where you can speak your mind. Like, I've gotten called things by the left. I've been called horrible things by the left, or left people in this school. And it just becomes, that's my opinion. It's not like I want to harm anyone or want anyone to do poorly. It's just my opinion. Maybe it's a little bit more controversial than someone else who's a little bit more liberal than I am, but it's not hurting anyone in any way. It's simply an opposing point of view, and it should be accepted and tolerated.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
So then that brings up another question. At what point does it become slander? What point does free speech become slander and whatever it is in print? I forgot what it was.
Well, slander and libel are when you say something that you deliberately know to be false in order to defame someone's character. And that's not really speech in and of itself. That's not political speech, because we have the First Amendment for free political speech. When you lie about someone, you're not exercising your freedom of speech, and that's why it's illegal to print libelous things or slanderous things.
And you're intentionally trying to hurt that person, hurt their business, job, family, whatnot, by intentionally spreading lies. And I think that's a completely separate issue. Yeah.
The main issue with free speech is just in terms of the political realm and what should and should not be allowed. I mean, that's one. I don't think anything should be not allowed, but that's the debate. But yeah, libel and slander are already illegal because you can't defame someone's character for an ulterior motive.
And before the show, you were talking about your political, was it ideology or the spectrum that you're on?
It's my political compass. It's like a test.
Exactly.
That you can take
So over the past couple years, I've been evolving in what my political beliefs are. I don't believe that the government should be responsible for taking care of people. I don't believe that we should have a welfare state. However, I do believe that in some instances it's necessary and it's good. But I only think that welfare should be given when it's the poorest of the poor, because that's when it's been seen to actually do well. So I am weary of social nets. I think that Social Security should be reformed, but it's difficult because so many millions of Americans depend on it. But anyways, when I took my political compass map, it was I'm very socially liberal, but I'm to the right economically, completely to the right on the economic scale. So I'm kind of a neoliberal, which is capitalism. But but I have very socially liberal ideas, because at the same time I don't think the government should infringe upon what you do in your household, what you do with your family, what you do with your reproductive organs. That's your problem. That's your business. So I don't want a lot of government interference when it comes to economic policy, only when it's needed to stop monopolies and things of that nature. But at the same time, I can't say, the government can't control economic things, but they can control my body or your family or censor things. I think that's a little hypocritical. So that's what I believe.
You touched. We both agree that the free market has lifted more people out of poverty than any other system known to man. And anytime that it's implemented, anytime that any communist, socialist, or somewhat totalitarian state has implemented a controlled government, it has only led to the death and oppression of millions and millions of people all across the globe. And we see this time and time again. But pointing back to the reproductive comments that you made, the whole issue with that is not that you don't have the right to control your own body. It's that you are directly infringing on someone else's right to live when you choose to have an abortion.
I think the question with the Supreme Court is that it's not a person after it's considered legally a person after the first trimester. That's what the Supreme Court ruled on, and that's what the law is. I'm not saying that abortion is a good thing. I think whenever a woman decides to have an abortion, it's a very difficult situation that it is with her family, her doctor, and herself. And I think that, it's a tricky issue. It's a binary issue. It's either you're for it or you're against it. I'm not pro-abortion. I'm pro-women having the decision to make that with their lives. Having a child is a huge responsibility, and there's things that lead up to that I think we could actually lower the rate of abortion, which is higher sex education, federal programming for sexual education, because the places that have these abortion laws, like you see in Texas, states like that, it actually shows that they have higher STD rates, higher abortion rates, because there's misinformation. And I think that this lie that somehow teenagers are going to stop having sex if we teach them that, it's bogus. And I think that increasing the education about sex ed, contraception, things of that nature would actually stop dramatically abortion rates. So I think that if you're pro-life, I think you'd be pro-sex ed, because you're really solving the root of the problem, which is miseducation and misinformation. So you would you would definitely curb the getting yourself in the situation in the first place.
So I do want to say, although you guys both have very differing opinions on many different types of issues, would you all agree, though, that we are all pretty much one and the same, very similar to each other, even though there's this whole notion that, we're all on two different sides of the world, pretty much, and that one is completely different, and, we all have received backlash and things like that. I mean, just what do you guys, what do you guys think about that?
Well,
are we technically all one and the same, or are we not?
We're not. I mean, we're not all the same because everybody's different. But we're all in the same. I would like to say we're all in the same airplane, right? I mean, we're either on the left side or the right side, but we're all in the same airplane. We're getting served by the same stewardesses, and we have the same pilot. And right now, the pilot's Donald Trump. So
I think that Victor has a point, and I try with my relationships, friendships, or whatever. I try to say, okay, I have Republican friends, but I look past that. I can see someone for beyond their political affiliations.
Yeah.
Victor's a great person. I disagree with him on a lot of things, and I'll debate and argue with him on that. But he's a good person, just morally.
Yeah, we can save the arguing for after the show.
When it's not on the record.
Join them on Twitter tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be on the internet for quite a while.
Actually, yeah, it'll come out tomorrow. So yeah, you guys will be arguing about Comey's testimony.
Oh God.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that you can respect, tolerate, and like a person regardless of their political affiliations or the beliefs or whatever. Because people are people. I could have interests that are like I could say music is Victor. I could it doesn't have to be all about seeing things from the left or the right. I think life is just more complicated than that.
Exactly.
We also live in like a super hyper-polarized time. I mean,
exactly.
So it wasn't like this 10, 20 years ago. People weren't so divided. But still, it's like looking past the political realm of everyone's existence and getting down to like who they are as a person. So people oftentimes don't think about that, but it's really something you got to do. And oftentimes people who disagree with you mean well, but they just don't know what's right. If that makes sense.
And I think Victor has a point. All too often we see things, even the right, the left, my own party, we see things,
Party or movement at this point?
Movement. Okay. I'm going to say the Democratic Party. I think I can speak for my own party. I can't speak for the Republican Party. But it's just like there's this sense of, you're accepting bigotry if you talk to them, or
bigot.
You're accepting bigotry and all these things, and it's just like, no. I mean, how do you expect to get to some common ground if you don't even know what the other side is feeling or their point of view? How can we expect to solve these issues and come to a consensus? And we are in a hyper-polarized time. How can we solve that if we're constantly saying, well, if you talk to the right, you're not. You're a person who wants to solve issues. You can't solve issues by having a liberal standpoint all the time. You can't solve issues if you have a complete conservative standpoint all the time.
You gotta make deals. You gotta make great.
Oh my gosh. And you have to be able to get to a middle ground. That's just how government works. That's how policy works. You have to have a middle ground. And once both sides start to see that, then we can make some change.
All right. And so I know, Victor, you're a junior this year, but what are your plans probably after you graduate?
Well, I'm definitely going to go to college. I'm looking at a lot of schools out in the Midwest, but yeah, I'm excited. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time at the world's greatest high school, and all that comes with it, and our wonderful. But it's like looking back. I mean, I'm not even. Well, by the time June 23rd rolls around, I'll be 3/4 of the way through high school, and it already seems like it just went by in a blur. How fast it goes, and I think next year I'll be sitting, in the chair where you guys are as seniors. Already having your plans decided, and the next 4 years pretty much modeled, drawn out for you. It sure comes at you quick. I definitely have gained a perspective on that.
Yeah, I agree with Victor. It happens really fast, and also like he was talking about college, like, oh, am I allowed to?
Yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want. Yeah, I'm well aware of the let's just say the college process has made me a very salty person.
Yeah, it's a very
so good luck up ahead, Victor.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a lot of those no letters.
No, you're not. It's just a very long process.
Like a funny way of saying.
I already started the Common App.
It's the most.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
It's opened up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started Common App when I was a junior.
You know what really, really
No.
just, you know,
I mean, then I gotta do it when I'm in my senior year. I get it all. I like get the meat of the stuff down, like what is your parents' maiden name? I can get that done. And like
you know, social security number, all that personal.
exactly all the stuff that they tell you never to give out. That you're gonna give out.
Yeah, don't put this on the internet. Here's his thing.
I was going to register to vote and I realized I needed my social security number and I was like, oh.
By the time you're a senior, you'll know your social security. You should put it in so much. It's a little scary.
I don't know my social security
Let's just
number.
say I might not
I just
know
keep
that.
it in a lockbox.
I'm guilty.
I don't know my social security number.
I know by heart.
Is it bad if I had it on my... I'm just kidding.
You have it on your phone.
No, I didn't say
That
I
is
have it
bad.
on my phone.
I don't know what you were thinking.
Jesse!
There was
Russian hackers might get to it.
there was this
My
there's
friend
this kid,
Vladimir is good at taking social security and using them for un-American purposes.
Election fraud. He was rigging. He literally went into the booth and he changed it.
Yeah.
got it.
He himself, without a shirt on, naturally, on horseback.
He literally went into the.
It's the only way
booth.
Putin can ever move about. So you see him in suits, that's just for the pictures.
So just.
He's actually just a shirtless male riding around on a horseback.
You know, I love to pull up that song. You know, a man like Putin.
A man like Putin.
I've never heard that.
If I can get that
It's a
on,
good
if
song.
I can get that on,
If you're taking comp, are you taking comp?
I'm taking comp.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it's a lot.
if I can get that song on vinyl, I think my life is made. But if
Well, you should play that as the intro and the outro to this podcast.
no,
I can't find it anywhere. I can't download it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
Is it
not.
on YouTube?
It's on YouTube,
It's on
but you
YouTube.
can't like
It's
buy
YouTube
But
it.
it's also
MP3
like
that bitch.
it's also pretty bad quality. You know,
Yeah,
like if you've seen the music
it's from
video.
like 2003. So I mean,
Yeah, I don't know
Can't
what kind of
blame
I don't
us,
know what kind of
2003.
cameras they were using back then, but let's just say someone's got to redo that. You know, I don't know.
You should do it.
We'll see about that. I don't know if I want to get involved with some of that.
Is there a White House Film Festival? You can submit in the film festival.
I think there is.
That would be really weird.
Is there?
Yeah.
I was
don't
just
know.
a joke.
No, that'd be really weird if you submitted a music video that was a man like Putin.
That'd be
to
the most typical liberal thing you could do.
no. But
Yes,
Viva
come
la
on,
resistance.
come on. My Russian hacking.
okay. With Russia. Okay, this is how I feel.
Now she started.
All right, let's get into it.
Lovidzanya.
This is how I feel about Russia. All intelligence agencies have come to a consensus that Russia influenced the election. However,
I can see Victor over there just like looking down.
but that's what I'm not saying like what happened or not, because I'm not in the investigation. I'm not Weller or Mueller. I'm not the one doing it. But what I do know is that if all of our intelligence agencies come to a consensus that Russia influenced the election, then I trust that. However, I think the left is way too quick to say, well, he's going to get impeached or you know, they were in the poll. That's not factual. And the right saying that Russia had there's no intention that there were ever. That's just like, obviously there was influence. Okay? I don't know what
Obviously, what kind of influence?
Well, I think that, what the intelligence agency came to was there was misinformation purposely being spread a
So
few weeks
basically,
prior to the
stuff we
election.
don't like was said, and so Russia did it.
I'm not saying what Russia did or not. I'm saying that there was influence in the election. That's the only consensus that has arisen.
But you just said Russia had
influence.
Yeah, what
had
kind of influence?
I just told it was misinformation, purposely being spread before the election. Now, does that mean that it played a serious role in the way it was swayed? I don't think so. I don't think that the Russian interference actually played a big role
So
in
do you
the
think
way
there was
that.
collusion?
I wouldn't say that because it hasn't been seriously proven. I think that there's some sketchy stuff going on when a lot of the people who work for Trump, they have to give, meetings with foreign leaders and countries and things of that nature. And the one country they always leave out is Russia. I think that is a little weird. I think that...
Don't you also think like maybe if it's because they know if they do say Russia straight up out front, it's the media will run with it and be like,
No, but...
Jeff Sessions allegedly meets with Russian officials.
No, but
in
the thing
Washington
is...
and just does not
but
disclose.
the thing is, Victor, I'm not saying what happened or not, but I'm saying if you know there is scrutiny by the media that there was some collusion with Russia, and you're working in a Trump administration, you say, you know what, this is not true. I'm going to point out everything that happened with all the countries that I visited, Russia, China, whatever, so that the media doesn't think that I'm somehow guilty. But if you're giving out all the information about other countries and not Russia, you're allowing yourself to be judged. If I meet with 10 countries right? And I know I'm being under investigation by my administration or whatever scrutiny of my campaign, including with Russia. I know this. I want to serve Donald Trump. I don't want Donald Trump to think that I was somehow doing something I was supposed to be doing. I would give out that information so there was less scrutiny. So the fact of the matter is that Flynn or whoever is not disclosing that and are disclosing other countries is sketchy. And maybe there is reason to discuss, well, what happened? Why are you all this information and not Russia? So, we'll see what the investigation, but in terms of like this whole Russia thing, I think the left needs to understand that there's a reason why Hillary lost, and it damn well wasn't because of Russia.
There was a lot of reasons why she lost.
But
and we have to take, Victor?
And we have to
you
take
didn't touch
responsibility.
Wisconsin. I mean,
Yeah,
come on. You
I
gotta get a
agree.
cheese
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah, she.
At least go there and watch a Packers game or something.
Come on
now.
I agree. I think
If you can make it up the stairs.
I think there's a lot of reasons why Hillary lost. I think there's a lot of valid reasons why Donald Trump won. So I think that we're consistently blaming Russia for what happened is not really solving the issue of the party. I want my party to win in 2020. I want my party to gain the majority in at least one house. That's what I want to see happen. So
Good luck.
Let's have this Russia investigation. Let's do it. Whatever they say, what they say. But let's focus on the real prize, which is regaining our power. Did Russia cause us to lose governorships in dozens of states? Did Russia allow us to lose our seats in Congress? Did Russia do that? Or was it us being out of touch?
Or was it? Yeah, it was a complete repudiation of everything Obama stood for when it was that election.
I think it reveals a bigger trend that we're becoming even more polarized than we already were, and it's become a problem. I want to go back to what you're talking about, how they didn't disclose Russian documents, or like that they met with Russia. It's sort of like, Victor had a point, it's sort of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of thing, where it's like, if they do, because the media's gotten to the point where like,
we can all agree the media is like extremely anti-Trump, right? We can all agree.
Well, it depends on the media.
It depends on the media.
It depends. My problem, and you're right, I think you do have a point, but my problem is, but you know this. You should disclose everything, because then you're like, it's out. I had nothing to hide. You know what I'm saying? It's better than
obviously
not
maybe
disclosing
they didn't do the most intelligent things with the information they
and
had.
so it's
that
happening over and
that
over
in and of
again.
itself is not like proof of any collusion or interference. I mean, to this date, there hasn't been any concrete evidence. All we have are anonymous sources and leaks, which doesn't really prove anything, because if nobody's willing to go on the record with this information, what does that tell you? I mean,
I agree.
I mean, to some point, you got to look, to a certain extent, you have to look past the smoke and mirrors and really think for yourself and question, well, what's really going on? Why is there an ulterior motive? Do people want to bring Trump down? And the answer is yes. And
Trump,
the Hillary going around parading, obviously, that she lost the election because of Russia or because of the DNC, it's just stupid. And it's like, lady, you didn't even, like we mentioned, you didn't touch Wisconsin. Like, how do you expect to win? Several states, but Wisconsin's the one that I can think of right now. How do you expect to win if you're not going to campaign? I mean, Trump was spending, he'd do a rally in the morning in Connecticut, and then one in Iowa, and then one in like Florida, and that was every day. He did 3 or 4 rallies. I mean,
I think one of Hillary's hubris's is that she was too prideful. I mean, we saw that in 2008. She thought that she had DNC backed me, so I'm fine. Then Obama got the nomination. It was a long summer, but he got the nomination because he was grassroots and he worked hard. But along with the media, I think that this keeps coming up time and time again. I think a part of the reason why we're so hyper-polarized, especially in our area, is because we can't even agree on the facts. So Trump comes out, and he says ABC, NBC, CNN, whatever, all of these sources are completely against me or whatever. And I think there's just too much information at one time. Now, that can be a good thing.
Too much information. I mean,
it can be a good thing and a bad thing.
You want openness in your government?
Yes, you want openness in your government. However, when you say that the media is anti-Trump, the media is a very broad term. I mean, we have
mainstream media, though, there really is.
We have Breitbart, we have InfoWars, we have.
But those aren't mainstream media outlets.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, how many people turn on the TV and watch Alex Jones? Like, late night Alex Jones.
Can we talk about Alex Jones?
I love Alex Jones.
I know that you do, which is why I want you to elaborate a little bit on.
I think it's funny. I think Alex Jones he's just a joke. I don't think
one takes him seriously.
He's a performance artist.
He's a performance artist. He even said in his when he went to court, he was a performance artist, and he also said that the government is making the weed too dank, and that's why he's going crazy.
How do you feel about the globalists that he mentions in?
I think it's a joke at this point. I mean, even Donald Trump goes, "I'm a nationalist and I'm a globalist."
Because he's stupid.
Like, how do you? And I just, it makes me laugh at this point about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, he was pro coal mining and all that stuff, and it's just like these reports. Like a couple days ago, Donald Trump briefed Republican leaders that he wanted a solar paneled wall, and things like that just make me laugh, because it's just like, what do his supporters think? I'm asking you, Victor.
Well,
I mean, about his policy flips, he's not going to go after, he wants amnesty. He's not going to go after the Dreamers. The wall is whatever. I don't even know what's happening at that point. Healthcare is a joke.
Obamacare is a joke.
Well, the Republicans they can't even come to a consensus in their own party.
Yeah, I know. It's
just
terrible.
like,
I mean, I'm as mad at Republicans as I am at Democrats.
So it's just like, I don't see him having any serious strides. I really don't. And I'm not saying that as a Democrat. I'm saying as a person. I don't see Trump making any serious strides at all. I mean, he has serious strikes, which I'm sure a lot of Trump supporters disagree with, because they were for pro-America. And by you having these strikes because Ivanka sees a sad picture, that's not a good enough reason. So it kind of goes against what he believes in. He wants to give billions of dollars to Saudi Arabia. He says that he doesn't want to support Qatar, but you're giving billions of dollars to Saudi Arabia, who systematically supports terrorism. So it's kind of just like, I think it's funny. I think it's like, really, like, Donald Trump, like, are you really still what you prided yourself on? I mean, come on. The Muslim ban, it's not going to happen. It's caught up in the courts.
Legally, there is no basis for the courts to turn it down. If you read the text of the law, of the executive order itself, there's nothing inherently illegal, because the president has the power vested in him by the Constitution to determine whether or not certain aliens are allowed to come into the country. The issue with that is the hyper-liberal courts.
They're not hyper-liberal.
They're taking what he said in the campaign and implying that to the executive order. When that's not the case. So the revised executive order is perfectly legal, and there's no real reason for them to strike it down, other than he said bad things in the campaign, so let's just forget it. He literally is causing his own demise. So they just ruled that Trump tweets are actually like White House documents, like official White House statements. And then like Sean Spicer saying that the ban is not the correct term to use, the ban, that's not what it is, it's not a ban, and then the next day Trump says it's a ban. So you're giving yourself ammunition for the courts to say, well, what's your motive here? Well, what is the motive? What would you say the motive is?
I think the motive is really, I don't think it's a well-written executive order.
Then do you agree with the premise behind the order? You just don't agree with the order itself? Is that what you're saying?
I don't agree with the premise. I think that the Homeland Security, which was the director was Trump appointed, said that the countries listed would actually have not shown a serious threat to the country. The main contributors to terrorism, Islamic extremists around the world, he left out over and over again. So no, I think it's dumb.
These are countries. I mean, the whole idea with this order was, it was intended to be just, the preliminary thing that I'm going to write this order now for 90 days. We're just going to ban it from these 7 countries that were identified by the Obama administration.
Well, that's actually fake news. That's
fake news.
That's fake
news. As potential terror.
The reasons why,
hotspots. And then later on we'll get an actual law in place. And so I personally think he should have issued a blanket ban. I don't necessarily agree with identifying these countries, but to say it's a Muslim ban is just not looking at the facts.
So,
I think,
sorry to cut you off, but you talked about earlier the president's ability to block all people's coming in. That's true. He does have the power to do that, but I think it was the old FBI director, the acting or whatever, when she was in front of the Senate.
Not
No,
right.
no.
The woman
it was
who
the
he
woman
fired.
that he fired.
Yeah, wasn't it? Or no,
No.
it was.
Oh no, she was acting attorney general, wasn't
Susan
she?
Rice. That was Susan
No,
Rice.
it wasn't Susan Rice.
Wasn't it?
No, it was
the,
Susan Rice.
She's no.
No, I think
Was
it
it?
was.
It was
I don't
the,
know. Anyways,
it was
was
the
some
Caucasian
lady.
woman.
So she was talking about this, and right after that segment where it says the president can ban people's coming in, he can't discriminate based on religion, race, or nationality. So I think you're right. I think there should have been a blanket ban, like what you're saying, but I don't think like identifying different countries
constitutional protections don't extend to non-citizens.
Right. I'm not saying it does, but I'm saying I think the problem is it's not really a constitutional protection, it's a constitutional limit on the power of the president, saying that he can't just say all Muslims or all Jews cannot come in, or these nationalities like the Irish, the Spanish, all these European countries, they can't come in at all. I think that's what the argument is.
I haven't. I've read something about that. I can't really remember what it said, but it was basically the premise like that was more of a statute, and it's not something that's. I think it was like by Ben Shapiro on the Daily Wire, and it basically debunked it, but I can't exactly remember what the exact thing says. But I mean, like looking at it in the broader sense, like if you can't limit immigration or ban immigration from a certain area based off of nationality, religion, or what's the other one?
Nationality, religion, and race.
And race, then what can you ban based off of? Gender? I mean, what can you ban based off of? I guess previous like involvement with a terrorist organization. Okay, that's one.
That's a good one.
But people who have been banned for previous involvement in a terrorist organization, okay, you'll get people who are potential terrorists. But what are people who are coming through that aren't terrorists,
right,
that have never been involved with active terror, but yet still have the intention of committing terror? So
think
the only real way to keep it safe is to issue a blanket ban, but that's not going to happen. I really wish it would.
Both of you guys are part of. You're going to be in the Young Republicans next year, the president, and you're the former. So you guys want to talk a little bit about those two different clubs and maybe your plans for next year, Victor, and then what do you wish would happen for the Young Democrats, Edie?
For me, it's about recruitment. I want to see a broader base of ideas. And we already talked about this in our meetings. I want to see more men. I want to see. I want to see more men. I want to see. I think that because I seriously think it's a problem. I think that we want to see more tolerance for different ideas. I mean, I don't want to say this. I'm not going to say. I have a friend who's a little bit more moderate than others, and I think that should be accepted because I want my party in general to become again what it was in 06, which was this. You have people who are conservative Democrats, you have liberal Democrats, you have the moderates, and I want to see that again. And I think because we're so hyper-polarized, you're not really seeing that. I want to see a diversity of ideas in my party and in my club because I care about it. So I want to see that definitely in the coming years.
So in regards to the Young Republicans, I've been in it for 2 years now. This is my second year. We haven't really done a whole lot. I mean, even when it was an election year, we kind of just had the debates with you guys, and we went and volunteered at the election, both the Super Tuesday primary and the general. But we haven't really done a whole lot of stuff, and our membership's been kind of low. It's been kind of concentrated the same core kids, and most of them are seniors. So I can only think of 2, maybe 3 kids who are underclassmen who are going to be returning next year. So my goals are to definitely try and hold more meetings and make it into more of an actual club. We weren't even in the yearbook this year as a team with a photo because we just didn't organize for it. It's not like they held us out because we're Republican. It's just no one cared to organize a picture.
Oh yeah, we can't have Republicans in the yearbook, guys.
Yeah. No, I was.
You had a spread,
surely
though.
I was in this. I was on every single spread that had anything to do with Donald Trump. I was there. But no, I want to see more people get involved, and I want to make it more fun, and I kind of want to do more stuff like Spirit Days to get the awareness out there and try to, because I do believe that most people, when exposed to our ideals, will kind of agree that there's sense behind them, and so I want to get people more exposed to Republican ideals that they maybe weren't otherwise exposed to, and maybe we can try to red pill some people.
I want to see. I also want to see.
pill.
I also see.
Nice.
I was big. My whole thing was I want to work with Republicans. Like that was my thing. I was criticized for it.
Which is, could you explain a little about the debate that you guys had this year? How did that go?
Debates. We had two.
I think.
Oh, two debates.
Well, we
Yeah.
had what debate in the town hall.
Oh yeah,
debate.
I believe I went to
I
one
totally
debate.
bombed my debate.
I don't think I went to the town
I
hall.
was so bad. You went to the town hall. You didn't go to the debate.
Oh,
The town hall's
yeah.
gonna ask questions. That was
That was interesting.
That was fun. I like the town hall.
I think that I want to work with Republicans. I want to see their ideas. I think there is good Republican ideas and there's bad Republican ideas.
we all have our opinions.
Yeah,
so,
and I want to see more partnership. I want to see more debates. I want to see more discussion because I think it's really important for students to see that, regardless if you agree with me or Victor or not. I think it's important to expose, enlighten kids because politics is so important. Government is so important.
It makes me so mad when kids they're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter." Like, yes, it does.
It does.
Like,
It matters. I mean, your tax dollars,
your
like the money that you work for, it goes to something. And what does it go towards? And do you agree with it? Do you agree with it or not? So that's what I want to see. I want to see kids actually getting involved because it really is important.
Or would you think that, I guess, a lot of high schoolers probably don't even know where they stand on certain issues, and I think that that's probably important to get them involved and get them.
A lot of people just go with the flow, and they don't really think. I mean, I don't want to insult high schoolers, but they just think like whatever. They either won't care, and whatever opinion they do have is whatever's mainstream, and they don't challenge the mainstream a lot. I mean, you're seeing more and more nowadays. Like there are studies coming out that's saying our generation, or the younger kids coming up are some of the most conservative generation, or are the most conservative generation since World War II, the greatest generation.
Well, because of post 9/11, I think that has a lot to do with the more conservative kids coming up.
So you're saying when there's an act of terror, people turn more
No,
conservative?
I think what happened to the country. I think what happened to the country was a major shift, and I think it was a shock.
Of course, yeah.
And I think it affects people's thoughts and ideas, and that's valid. But I think that there is still hope for liberals.
I mean, Obama did win in 2008, but
in 2012.
And 2012. I mean, yeah, obviously. Romney.
But I think there is still hope for my party. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pissed at at the Democrats. I really, for a lot of reasons. I don't feel like I really have a place really in the party now that what it has become. So I really am trying, like, with my own efforts to really recreate the party. Like, it should be more accepting. Like, I hate that I have to agree with Ben Shapiro or right-wing Republicans about...
But Ben Shapiro's not even that right-wing. I mean, like, and also, like, so mentioning Ben Shapiro, like, that's something that I've noticed. Like, I can't think of any legitimate leftist, like, intellectuals. Like, I mean, okay, so the, like, intellectuals, like, that live in D.C. in nice houses. But, like, I can't think of any people, like, or, like, Milo Yiannopoulos, or, like, Dinesh.
Milo is not an intellectual.
Milo got into Oxford.
That doesn't mean... Okay.
He's smart.
Okay.
He's smart.
Okay, but okay.
He's smart. Milo Yiannopoulos
Someone who says...
is smart.
I like sucking off priests because it gave me experience. I'm not going to put him in the same boat
look,
as
he
Ben
says
Shapiro.
He said some really...
He's a memer.
He's a meme.
He's a meme, but he's a
meme.
smart meme. I mean, like, and he said this, and I agree with him. He said, "Who does the left have to debate me? Who does the left have to debate Ben Shapiro? Milo and Ben Shapiro can debate on a lot of issues, and they'll disagree, and some will win, some will lose on some issues. But like, who does the left legitimately have to tout out as like Sam Harris? But he's not even leftist at this.
He's a Democrat.
He's not even at this point. He's very critical of Islam. He doesn't have a place in the modern Democratic Party. So who does the Democratic Party have?
That's why we need to reform the party.
Beyonce.
Exactly. Those are Katy Perry's the leftist intellectual.
Katy Perry cannot read. I don't want to talk about Katy Perry.
She can sing songs and
she's illiterate. But my point being is that's why we have to reform our party. I mean, I don't even think Sam Harris is critical. I think Islam and Muslim is tossed around. I think that he's critical.
Video, like he goes on Bill Maher's show.
Yeah,
and him and Bill Maher kind of like. I mean, and
Bill
Maher
Maher
is a lefty, like to the core.
I love Bill Maher,
but he is very anti-religion, one, and very anti-Islam, too.
He's anti-Islam and anti-Muslim are two separate things. I just remember that right now.
Right, yeah, that's... Yeah.
Islam is what you do for religion and the culture around Muslim people. So I think that those
Muslims
things
are practices.
Yes, and sometimes secular Muslims don't even practice true Islam. So that has to be, talked about. Yes, it's not like the same thing. It's difficult for me to say I'm anti-Islam or something like that because I don't think I know enough to be anti-Islam.
It's not your place to talk about?
No, it is my place, and that's one thing that I don't like about specific people who I talk to. Or people make memes about Jesus. I just want to say this: people can make memes about Jesus.
Seth MacFarlane, Family Guy does a Christmas episode.
Talk about Allah or Islam in any way, you are horrible. How dare you? That's the double standard that I hate. I will criticize burqas. I will criticize some crazy, freaky Christians. I will do both. It's not like I'm anti anything. I'm anti things that oppress people, hurt people, are demeaning, are unnecessary. That's what I'm against. So it's not like, oh, you're a xenophobic. No.
So wrapping up here. Now there's like 10 minutes left. What can high schoolers do to get more involved? What can they do besides joining Young Democrats, Young Republicans? What can they do to get more involved in their government aside from voting?
Well, I think especially like if you're talking about this area, like we have so many resources like close to DC. I'd say honestly the first step is honestly just like where you stand. Like what do you think you stand? Like take a quiz. Figure out, okay, like I
take a BuzzFeed quiz.
No, those are called mammograms.
Oh God.
Take a quiz to see where you stand. There's a ton of cool ones like Google Compass, where you stand or whatever. Take those and like see like what your beliefs are. And if you don't know enough, try to get informed in the things that you're not really sure. Like foreign policy is a big one. People don't really know enough about. So I think that's the first step. Try to do local stuff. I'd say like get informed about local elections because those can make a really big difference in your community. I think local elections actually kind of matter more than
you see the results on a daily basis. I mean, more so than you do but you are seeing whether or not your county supervisors decide to give $100 million to the road commission so they can build another lane on the highway. So you do see more of an impact. I mean, I'd say national politics is more important, but I think you see more of an impact. I don't know. This isn't really making
individual
sense.
People. You
see
it,
yeah. So, like, as a nation as a whole, obviously, national politics is a lot better than who wins, the county chair of Aranac County, Michigan, to take one for example, where my family's from. But you definitely do see more on an individual basis, like you said, from the local elections than you do from the national elections.
Yeah, and I think national elections are also important because it can kind of sway like primaries or like governorships. Like we have a governor's race coming up right now. So I think that national politics does play a role. But I do think it's like very, very important for county districts, Congress even, to get involved. And I think not enough people, not young people, just people in general, don't even have information or knowledge. And the internet's really important because it's always out there. And I think people need to grasp it. If you want to see a change happen in your community, don't talk to Donald. Talk to your supervisor. Talk to your sheriff. Talk to people at the local level who can actually. You can see
who have the connections,
who are right there in your community. That's a lot easier than waiting 6 months to hear back from Donnie. I'm just saying. And how much can he really do in your own...
Tweeting out at Donald Trump.
Tweeting at Donald.
You up at Donald Trump.
You'll get a reply if you say cuck.
Then you get blocked. People mock him for the Twitter thing, but I mean, I think it's a genius thing to do because...
It's very entertaining.
Maybe he's not doing it right, but the whole notion behind it, like... I mean, here's a guy who, whether you like it or not, the media doesn't really cover him the way he wants to be covered.
He won because of the media.
He won because of
the media.
WikiLeaks.
He won because
of the emails, and people saw what happened to the DNC, and they saw what's normal.
Do you think...
Okay, he won. All right, first of all, he didn't win for one reason. Actually, that's stupid. But he won because people his ideas resonated with people. There was a movement behind him, just like there was with Reagan. There was a movement behind him.
He did not win like Reagan did.
He didn't know he didn't win the Reagan. By the way, he kicked your guys' ass.
No, I agree. Reagan he didn't know Reagan.
And so Reagan comes back in 30 years. Hey, I'm sorry, you guys are gonna have to take that out. But. he won because he built the base. He had the ideas that people wanted and at the right time. And then it certainly helped that people were exposed to this DNC corruption, to be quite frank, via WikiLeaks. And that letter from Comey a week before the election, I think, had a very big effect.
Well, people have done research on this. The people. Okay.
Do you trust the polls?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
because, I mean, if you trust the polls at this point, it's
well,
like,
I trust the polls to an extent. The polls are correct that Hillary got more votes. It's just where the votes lied and resonated.
I mean, they were off in pretty much every single swing state where they really mattered.
Yeah, they were. But I mean,
like getting a poll right in California is not hard to do. I mean, you can get it right by 20. We can get it. If the margin of victory is 30% versus, and you said 20%. Okay, whatever. But it's not hard to predict that California is going to go blue for the next eternity.
Yes, but
they when it comes down to like actual polls and like close races, you can't trust them for anything because they proved. I mean, what did Nate Silver say? Like 99.7% chance she was going to win the election.
It was
like the Cubs won the World Series and they said that was not going to happen, and then the very next week, Donald wins the election.
Yes, I agree. Okay, the polls were wrong in this election, but to totally
They both
discredit
involve
them,
the Midwest.
Totally discredit the polls. I don't agree with it. I think we should reconstruct how we do them and how we research. However, this idea that somehow like Donald just won because of WikiLeaks. Okay, the average American.
I said that, but I don't agree with that.
The average American.
He didn't win just because of WikiLeaks.
The average American does not even know what the DNC is. Okay, the average American doesn't even know what WikiLeaks is.
No, but they know who Hillary is, and they saw in the emails what she did and what
they don't even know. When you ask an average person, like not me or you, Victor, not people who actually say.
I mean, you can't ask the average person in like the average student in West Potomac because a lot of them don't know.
Yes, but if you ask an average American in Ohio, where I'm from, they would say, "Okay, Hillary's emails." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Like, what about them?" Like, the emails.
Are you from Cleveland?
Why'd you ask that? Where else? What?
She makes fun of me. She hates. I hate.
Wait, you're from Cleveland?
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, right.
Columbus.
I was born in Ohio State.
What's in Columbus? The Blue Jackets.
Ohio State.
There's like one person in Ohio.
Yeah, name something interesting.
There's John Kasich. What I know about Ohio. There's John Kasich. The Indians finished runner-up in the World Series, and there's a turnpike that I take every summer.
There is a lot to do in Columbus, Ohio.
That's all I know about Ohio.
It's a beautiful.
The only thing I know about Ohio is Cleveland.
You don't even know anything about. You don't know how to spell Cleveland. You spelled Cleveland wrong.
Hey,
when we Googled it.
Because
no one cares about Ohio.
The only spelling of Cleveland that matters is when you're watching a Cavs game and you see CLE. That's the only thing that matters.
No.
No one cares about what happens in Cleveland on a daily basis because it's Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't care what happens in Cleveland, but I care what happens in Columbus.
No one cares, and no one especially
You're the
doesn't
only
care.
one.
No, that's not true. A lot of people care about Columbus.
Columbus probably has a population of like 10 people.
It has 1 million. It's 1 million. It's because of the college students, but it's 1 million people. Now, anyways, I'm triggered. But no,
we're so sorry to have
Columbus
you on the
lives
show.
matter.
Columbus is very important. But what I'm saying is, the average American made a decision months before that WikiLeaks DNC shit went down. People made their decisions before that. They don't. Average Americans.
But there were polls. I mean, okay, there were polls, but
they just didn't like Hillary because she was a career politician,
right? And they should have
nothing to do with DNC. Or no one cares. Like no one actually cares.
But late deciding voters broke decisively toward Trump, and that's because people who made up their mind weren't swayed by the emails. I think people with the H cars on the back of their Subaru Outback, they didn't. They didn't make.
I hate. We didn't get a Hillary thing though, but
wait, we can keep going, dude. It's fine.
It's about 17.
Can I
get a pass?
Like 125.
I can go till honestly, I'd be fine going till.
I mean, yeah. Can
as
we
long
talk?
as you can show up to my 6th period and show her I have a pass, and she'll probably whatever. I don't care.
Can we at least talk about Subarus right now? Subarus.
I don't know anything about Subarus other than that I would never drive one, and if I did drive one, it would be because I turned in my man card when I signed to take the car.
All right. So what car do you drive, Victor?
I have a Lexus.
Okay, I love Subarus.
It's an old Lexus. First of all,
I love Subarus. Subarus are very important to me. My mom has Subaru.
I love your Subaru.
You've seen the blue Subaru in my house. We have no Hillary signs. We had a Bernie sign because it came free. Haha, socialism. But
it came free socialism.
I didn't know cars could get cancer. I learn something new every day.
But like Subarus they're good cars. They're good running cars. Like they last a long time and they have good resale value.
Perfect, you know.
Okay, but Ford is made in America and it's infinitely better.
Ford is trash.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I will agree with this, and I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound like super anti-Trump, but like, we have a car, we have a Toyota, and it was made here. Mm-hmm. And the thing's a piece of shit. Like, it just doesn't.
It doesn't think.
Like,
Foreign
honestly,
cars are...
no. Foreign cars are better. The Japanese cars are really insanely good. They know how to make cars.
Subaru's made
The ones that are
in
made in Japan or made. I mean, Japan's like the best.
Yeah.
Japan, and I would say like Germany. Germany makes high-end luxury cars.
Germany has
really
German
good at
engineering.
that. So if you're gonna buy a luxury car, buy a German. If you're gonna buy like an everyday car, buy something from Japan.
Yeah, Subarus are made in Japan.
Well, the problem with
So you're gonna be a
buying
Camry
Volkswagens is
driver
try
in
to
the
gas you.
future?
Ha! Good one. I did leave in the option there for luxury cars because that's what I plan to drive. I will never drive a Prius or a Camry.
Okay, Priuses are nice cars.
No,
Yeah,
they're
you
not.
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
how I
they're
feel
running.
about
You can
Prius.
stop at a stoplight, and then all of a sudden you'll just be there, not hear the engine, and think you can go, and then not be able to go.
Yeah.
It's how
But see,
Priuses
and then
work.
the other side, the Camry will just go right through the stoplight. So it's like picking your alternatives with Toyota.
I don't remember what stand-up I watched, but it was this guy, and he talked about Camry, which is funny because I can relate to this. And Camry, it's the immigrant car of choice. So.
That's so true.
It is true. I mean, my parents are.
He means like 10-year-old Camry, right? In case you didn't know, that's me.
Yeah, I can relate to this on a personal scale. So.
You know what's another thing about immigrants? They always have. I'm not gonna. Yeah, they always have like the white socks, like the white socks with the sneakers on, and the khakis. I see seriously, like every immigrant has the white socks and they come to work like that with the sneakers and the khakis.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
you know what?
It's true.
It's like
I'm just
preppy
pointing this
white
out.
people.
No,
Point this out.
not like Nike socks, like just like
I'm gonna point this out.
socks.
And I don't. Let's kind of go back to politics, but like, if I had said what you just said right now,
You probably get like killed.
Yeah.
You get
You'd be
flamed.
but you
shot.
say it, and it's no big deal. But like that, so that's
So we need to actually shoot you in the streets.
no. 'Cause then we'll have riots and cars burned, and I'm sorry.
I think Democrats.
The resistance.
Speaking of cars,
I say it because my dad says that he was an immigrant. That's why I'm saying.
So is my dad, but nobody believes me because look at my skin.
Yeah, like I'm saying it because my dad says it, and my dad was a Nigerian immigrant, so like he gets it. But
He gets those khakis and those white socks.
yeah, he did for a time.
where does he buy them?
Khakis.
JCPenney?
Now, are they the Hanes ones you're talking about, or are they like Nike?
The Hanes one. The Hanes one.
I wear Hanes.
I'm serious.
Which is funny, Max, because right now you're wearing like cargo khaki shorts kind of thing, and the white socks.
You're not
They have to go back, Max. I'm sorry.
Oh,
There was no option for it.
All right,
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I'm gonna switch the topic right now. Anyways, I get a lot of road rage. I don't know about you guys.
my
You
God.
drive, Victor?
I do drive.
And just the other day, I'm pretty sure I told you the story already, Edie. I was coming back. You guys ever been to
She gets really bad road rage.
AMC movie theaters?
The one in
Yeah, AMC
yeah,
Hoffman.
of
There we
course,
go.
yeah.
So I was coming from that area, and let's just say I did stop at the stop sign. I know I did. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you all that I didn't stop. Let's just say there was this one guy, and he's one of those guys that just reminds me. It's the type of guys that have like those khaki shorts that go way below
wife
the
problems?
way below the knees.
wife
and
beaters?
Yeah.
Was he like white trash?
And the yelling.
Please say he was. He
The yelling.
Was his car
I don't
rattling?
think the race really matters.
White trash is not a race. It's just like a state of mind. Okay?
Okay, Columbus has a lot of them, and they're nice people.
That's what white trash is.
I mean, it's like living in a trailer, like beating your wife, smoking,
Let's just say
dipping tobacco.
he's one of those that probably yells
People
at
do
his
that here,
girlfriend.
I hate that.
He probably yells at his
People did
girlfriend,
the
and you know what he
pack
said to me?
Was he wearing a flat bill?
He was wearing sunglasses, the
you-
wraparound.
Oh,
He trademarked douchebag
guys.
glasses.
Could you hear the amount of years he's been smoking when he spoke?
Probably, possibly. And he said, "Watch where you're going, asshole." And I just thought to myself, like, Jesus. It had that twang in his voice. That the one where, it's the same guys that yell at their girlfriends, man. It's just that kind of dude.
The kind of guy whose face you see on like the nightly news, like man's ex-wife.
And there's another time, road rage. It wasn't even really road rage. I think
when it was-
I was dropping her off at her house.
I live in the suburb. Okay.
You drive?
No, I drive, but I don't have a car.
Can you
So,
Okay, all right. I thought you were going to say you don't drive, and I was like, what are you doing?
so Jesse was, because we live close. So I live in like this suburbia, like this little suburbia, and
You live in the like the upper middle class white neighborhood.
I don't see.
And
that way.
I live in the one next to you that has like I don't know, let's say bunch of trucks outside.
Silver
fences.
So
Does each driveway have like 15 cars in it? That's where I live.
That's my neighborhood.
That's where I live.
Legit, my neighborhood. Every 4th of July, Memorial Day, everything's just filled with cars.
No.
You
I'm
can't
talking about
park
daily
outside.
basis. There's one house at the end of my street, and there's probably someone who lives here who's going to listen to this. But they legitimately built like a shed in the back that I think people live in. And true story, like no lie, my dad rents out a house, and one time he rented it to people who then rented out rooms to other people.
happens a lot.
Yeah, I know, and it's like oh really, dude? And the guy was like kind of his friend, so he was like, oh really? Like,
Hey, I'm guilty. I think our house is kind of a car dealership. Why not?
No.
Let's just say my dad's in that phase where he wants to collect like old cars, vintage cars.
a
Call
nice
those midlife
Volkswagen.
crises.
Which is funny because he's really into that right now. He's getting old, he's doing that stuff. So I'm in full support. It's just our house kind of looks kind of.
Yeah, because you're young and can drive them. Your dad. Will
Actually,
be dead
I'm
like
still
20
still in the
years.
process of learning stick. So, but anyways, yeah, I was dropping you off at your house, and
So there's a stop. You want to tell?
yeah, you can say there's a stop sign, and well, what did that lady say?
So there was a stop sign, and like there was no one. It was a very quiet street, right? There was no one there. So like,
Of course it is.
Jessie like gently like stopped, but like she didn't do a full stop or whatever.
Oh, okay.
She gently stopped. No, it was not.
it was a rolling stop.
fine.
Yeah,
It
no
was a
one
rolling-
actually
yeah.
stops at a stop
It was a
light
rolling
stop sign
stop.
when no one's around
And
you.
so the woman, this woman with her husband goes, you know what? You need to stop next time. And Jessie looks like, fuck this bitch. So like she like so we come to my house like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck with her. So like she goes around. She literally went around the entire block. She stopped. She's like, was that good enough for you? And the woman was like shook. She was like, she was like, Jessie was triggered.
Like hyperventilating with her husband. Her husband's just like, what do I do? What do I do?
Wait, what? Hold on. What neighborhood do you live in?
I live like near Huntley Meadows, kind of, and it's like this like small like townhouse, like single family, like new area, and it's like they're all.
Is it like...
For the 3 viewers we have listening to this podcast, I hope they find you out. They hope they find out where you live. You know.
I live on Blue Mallard Landing. I shouldn't be saying that, but anyways, like it's like a small like new like community, and like
I
they're
run
all-
by there.
Yeah, they're all like very like. I don't want to.
They're the kinds
I don't want to be
of people-
discriminatory
they're
here.
the kinds of people that do CrossFit outside of their yard in the summer.
So white people. I mean, I'm not afraid to say it.
Yes, I mean they're nice people generally.
You
Like,
should have
I
done
never-
more to scare them, dude.
For the
I would have like.
Well, here's what I'm thinking
you
about.
gotta talk to him
They're very-
in an accent like, hey, I say what he's going on for you, man.
I guarantee you, the scariest,
I can stop more next time.
the scariest thing to.
like
No, every time
Just
I go with my
Spanish
family,
and
every time I go with my
gets so
family,
scared.
every time I go with my family to like a Spanish restaurant, like let's face it, I'm like the whitest looking person you can imagine. Like blonde hair, blue eyes, freaking skin like the same color as my white shirt. And I go there, and everybody before they look at you funny because like I'm really my mom and I are really only the ones who have like blonde hair in my family. But they look at us and they're like, okay, so they talk to us in English because they don't obviously doesn't look like we speak Spanish. And then we'll go and we'll order.
They're profiling.
We'll talk to them and they profile. I mean, I don't care. I think profiling's not that bad.
yeah.
Okay,
continue.
Not happy.
I mean,
I mean, think about it.
Hey, let's
90-year-old grandmas are not going to be taking over airplanes. Let's just say that. But
next him in the news, Grandma takes over.
hey, if a grandma can take over an airplane, power to her, man. She's moving well at 90.
She
I mean, but like, but so they'll start off. They'll like Chipotle. They'll say Chipotle. I go to Chipotle, right? They'll talk to me like, "What kind of burrito do you want?" And I'll be like, I'll get chicken and whatever. And I'll talk to them and start talking to them in English, and then I'll go and they'll ask me about beans and stuff. And then eventually I'll transition. I'll start answering the question in Spanish, even though they're asking me in English, right? But they still keep asking me in English. So it's like. And they're thinking I'm just like speaking like high school Spanish, like whatever. And by the time we get to
Speak
the,
some Spanish for us, Victor.
I mean, if I don't know it's bueno. I'm not like really good, but
Your Chipotle order in
my
Spanish.
Chipotle order in Spanish is finesse. I know what I get, I know what I like, and I know how to say it. But like, I mean, I do speak enough that I can like communicate with my family, my relatives, and stuff, and my friends, and my dad's friends. But like, it's just funny how like by the time I start the order, we're speaking English, and by the time we get to the end, we're speaking Spanish. It's kind of funny. I don't know.
With profiling, I I don't know, like I've been profiled by black people. Like I don't like being judged before people know me, and I think like profiling for criminal purposes, like if they match hey, like whatever. But I think my problem is with people, especially like a black Republican, let's say, okay?
Ben Carson.
I think Democrats too often think that we're just going to support them because we're minorities. And I think that that's not accurate. You should want to vote. You should want our vote. You shouldn't just take it for granted. And I think for too long, the Democratic Party has been taking minority voters for granted.
Oh.
And maybe that's why some of them are switching. I think actually...
You're right. I mean, you're spot on. The Democratic Party has taken advantage of minorities.
If there was more Republicans who were black and Hispanic who were shifting the Republican Party and transforming it, I think we'd be much better off. I think if the Republican Party had more minorities, I think both parties would be much better off because it would actually show what the country is made of. So.
Yeah, and speaking to that, like, minorities, I mean, it's really amazing, like, to think that the party that freed the slaves is now castigated as the party of some racism. And I know you're gonna like
Edie in the back is
someone in the comments is gonna pull up Wikipedia and
there's
think
gonna be
they know
comments on
everything
this?
about it. Oh yeah, it's going on YouTube.
I mean, if people want to.
We'll be lucky if we get 50 views.
Dude,
right?
we have like 3 viewers. So
my thing.
Okay.
This might actually
I might go back and watch this. I mean, listen to it.
My problem with what Victor said is.
Oh, I'm not done.
Whoa, okay, Victor. All right, Victor.
Okay.
Let's let Victor express his opinions here on the show.
Thank you. I don't get to do that very often. In school, not here, whatever. But yeah. So I mean, you look at like the true history of the parties and really what they stand for, and so the beginnings of the Democratic Party and up into the Civil War was obviously pro-slavery. Everyone can agree on that. Mm-hmm. The Republican Party was founded as an anti-slavery party. Everyone can agree on that. And even in the 1960s, the majority of it was like 80% of Democrats or 75%. There was some high number of Democrats didn't vote for the civil rights legislation that Lyndon Johnson signed through. Granted, he signed them through, but they passed on the through the strength of Republican votes. And basically the core idea of the Republican Party and the conservative movement is that people can help themselves. But what the Democrats have done and what they continue to do is say, no, we're kind of going to keep you in this plantation system where in exchange for your votes, we're going to give you guys all the stuff you need, but we're going to hold you down to where you can't get off the plantation. So they've gone from slavery to enslavement. There's a difference. But I mean, think about it. It's kind of like an addict, right? The addict is addicted to his drug and he can't get off, right? Well, these people are addicted to. They get in these ghettos and the bad areas of cities and stuff. They live primarily off of like welfare and social programs and stuff, and the reason they don't get out is because the culture is fostered in them that the government will provide for you. And that's part of why the black single mother rate is so high, is because the role of the father figure has been decimated in black culture because of programs like this. And it's really sad. It's really, really sad. And it wasn't like this. MLK today, I firmly believe, would be a Republican. Because of what he stood for, and that black people should be able to help themselves and move up for themselves and judge on the content of your skin, or on the content of your character.
Content of your skin.
See, I just said that, and then my entire point is no. Shit. But I mean, look at it from a if the GOP is the party of rich people, then wouldn't we benefit from more rich people? The Democratic Party is the party of poor people. Won't they benefit from more poor people? Whose incentive is it to keep people down in the bottom?
I think that Victor has some points that in the black media I can speak from this. Mm-hmm. There is.
I'm gonna get hate mail.
No, and I'll back you on this. There is a culture in the black media. My mother was a prime example. So my mom, she was from North Philly. The people around her were on welfare. They are on welfare today. She was like, nah, I want to go to Temple, I want to go to UVA, or I want to go to Columbia, and that's what she did. Right. So she worked for it, all right? So that's what she did. So I have a lot of respect for my mother. My mother got made fun of, she got teased, she got taunted because she was doing things that...
Uncle Tom, they call him Uncle Tom. That's what they call.
She wasn't called.
Well, but not, maybe not.
Yeah, I know.
John, but that's what they call especially like Ben Carson, stuff like that. They say he's not black because he doesn't agree with what I think.
I've gotten that. I've gotten called things by black people, and I've gotten called things by white people saying, "Oh, you're not really black." What does that mean? So I mean, I think it's on both sides, but I think he has a point where it is fostered. But with the mother rate, with the single black mom rate, it has a part to do with welfare, but it also has a part with Nixon, for example, systematically high prison rates. You can see in black communities that.
Well, why are there high prison rates? Why do people commit crime?
Well, let's just talk about drug laws.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the drug laws. I mean, Nixon's associates that are still alive today will admit that the drug laws that were enforced were meant to take down black communities.
I can't quote.
There's
Lyndon
a
Johnson on
cycle.
here.
There's a cycle of higher incarceration rates for drug crimes. Like, even in today, crack and cocaine are basically the same thing chemically, right? But cocaine, take New York. Cocaine is in Wall Street, and crack is in Brooklyn, the Bronx, all right? You will get higher prison time for crack cocaine because of who sells it. People who do coke in Wall Street.
So how do you feel about the opioid epidemic?
I think it's actually funny. This is why I think it's funny. The opioid not funny, but I think it's ironic. It is disgusting. It is horrible what is happening, especially in Midwest towns, small towns across the country. It's ravaging places.
I agree.
However, when the opioid epidemic hit black communities, it was seen as a black issue. It was seen as an inner city issue. But as soon as the opioid epidemic hit different kinds of areas,
Well, I mean,
it was seen as a nationwide issue. When heroin
if it's
hit,
only in certain areas, isn't it only an issue for?
but
the
it's
certain
only
areas
hitting
it's in?
it's only hitting rural areas right now,
No.
and it's seen as a nationwide epidemic.
It sort of is, but like even now, like you guys both saw Mantelli earlier. She was gone. For those who don't know, she was gone most of the year because of breast cancer. She had an addiction to opioids because of the prescription she was given.
Right.
So
it is and it's definitely hitting different kinds of areas because of like prescription drugs and people who get them. It's very addictive, and the rate of how doctors are just prescribing them.
Exactly. And what do you think doctors should be able to do in order for these people
They
to
shouldn't
not?
It's a difficult. You can't.
Okay. We're not getting into that.
But I'm just gonna sit here and say that I think it's different. It's seen very differently than it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, when black people were who were hooked on heroin and opioids, it was seen completely differently. All right, let's just admit it was not seen as some nationwide issue. That is as it should be. It should, for both situations, it should be a nationwide issue. But it wasn't, because the people who were getting affected, they didn't really matter on the national scale in the 80s. And that's something
So
we have to
are you
admit.
relating this back to institutional racism kind of thing?
Institutional racism is a tricky situation.
Can I bring up one point though before we move on to that
Of
discussion?
course.
So you mentioned, the laws in the Bronx for what crack are different than the laws for cocaine, right? I don't know the exact numbers, but what percentage do you think of the Bronx City Council or New York City Council is either A, African American, or B, liberal Democrat? So what percentage do you think? I mean, I would say it's 100%. That's my guestimate.
It's not 100%.
It's at least
but
90%, something like that. It's a very high number of inner city councils, mayors, law enforcement agencies that are elected. They're all liberal Democrats.
Law enforcement agencies are completely different. Sheriff in New York City.
I misspoke.
It's not. It goes past Democrat and Republican.
But you're telling me that I mean, first of all, you didn't counter my point that the Democratic Party is a party of racism.
I would counter it. I'm counter right now.
But you're saying that your evidence is that there's high incarceration rates.
No,
and that proves it.
That's not my evidence.
But all I'm saying is that these politicians have been in power in these cities for the last 50, 60 years. Detroit has had liberal government for probably the past 50, 60 years. What's happened to it? Why hasn't anything gotten any better? If these people have a solution, which they claim to do, which they claim to have, then why isn't?
I'm not even gonna say they have a solution. I don't think that.
But isn't that why they get elected?
People don't get elected because they have solutions. They get elected because it's a system.
Well, then you just prove my point then.
But I don't think that the solution to our problems is just electing all Republicans and then magically racism goes away.
I never said it was, but I said look. I mean, look. Read between the lines. Read between the lines.
The foundation for
we've had a black president, a black attorney general. The foundation. You can't argue that there's a massive foundation of racism in this country. Sure, there are racists. Sure, there's been racism in the past, but there's no other more tolerant place in the world than the United States of America.
I agree with that. However, that doesn't mean we should make it better. Not make America great again. But we should make it better. And I think that
than ever before.
With with racism and incarceration rates, it goes past Democrat and Republican. It goes past that. It goes past to a culture, a system that disproportionately affects Black people, especially Black people doing drugs. White people and Black people smoke weed the same amount, around about. I'm just saying.
Well, also, like, one thing you haven't considered is that, and if you guys get mail, you'll get hate mail for this. Black people tend to have the average, like, if you look at the just blanket average, like, Black people who get arrested for drug violations not usually, I'm not saying usually, that sounds bad, but like sometimes have prior convictions. And so when you have a prior conviction, you are going to get a longer sentence because it shows you, whatever, with a reason. But you're going to get a longer sentence. So that being said, maybe there's a reason why people get higher incarceration rates based off the race skin, and that's not rooted in racism. No one makes you go out and commit crime. No one forces you to do that. It's immoral to commit crime, and for someone to say that they did it because of someone else, that's not a legitimate reason. That's not going to send them to court.
You actually touched on something that I actually wanted to bring back up. You said prior convictions, and you're right. I mean, that's a part of how sentencing happens. However, we have to think our prison system is really jacked up. So let's say you start, when you're 16 years old, you get busted for possession. Let's say you get 6 months, right? Whatever. Let's say you live in a lower income community. You're gonna get out of prison, you already have a record, okay? Maybe you don't have the lawyers to back you up or defend you or have the education and knowledge that we do. So you are already starting out with that up below your belt. So you can't get jobs. You can't get access to things that other people wouldn't, because you made a mistake, and that's coming back. So how do you make money? You can't get a job. You can't do this. You can
get a very low paying job.
But it's not enough to pay the bills. So what people turn to, they turn back to what they're doing because well, then
doesn't that prove that the system itself is broken? Maybe not. Yes. There's not inherent racism, but it's broken. And you know why it's broken? It's been broken because of the Democratic Party's reliance on the need for minority votes.
Well, prison system.
Because think about it. These people, they come back, they turn around, they don't vote red because they know when they vote red, the well dries up. That is social welfare programs. If they vote blue, those programs stay there, and then that money that they can't make because they have a prior conviction comes from Uncle Sam.
I think that people put too much trust in Republicans, Democrats. Democrats can't save everything. They're not going to somehow magically change the prison system.
All I'm saying is, let's get the facts right.
They're not God.
Like this idea that if I vote Republican, the prison system of America will change.
No one said that.
They're all sleeping together. They're all doing the same. They are.
No. Because if you read the Hillary emails, actually, they're sleeping with small children.
We are not doing this. But my point being is, we have to look for lower community options. The prison system is. I have a criminal justice teacher who's Republican down the hall. The prison system has to be reconstructed. Too many Black men are getting misinformed, misguided. Especially with drug violations. There's tons of cases of being misguided by lawyers or the system or whatnot, misinformation in the community. I think it's about education and information, because it's getting to be ridiculous. It's on both sides. It's not like Black people are not to blame. All right, I'm gonna be real. Black people need to do more in our communities. It's ridiculous. Okay, a Black guy who wants to be a basketball player and has nice shoes is applauded and lauded. Right. But if I want to get an education, I am shamed and shunned and made fun of, and that's not right. Why in our community is getting an education seen as bad? And we as a Black community, we have to rethink these things. If you want to sit here and say the white man's bringing us down, the white man's doing this and that, you should be advocating as a community, just regular Black people, for more education. We're seeing that kind of now in recent 2016, 2017, but it's not happening enough. We have to stop this culture of consumerism is really the important thing. Education, knowledge, a spread of ideas is so much more important. We have places like BET where people get their education and news from. That's not all right with me. And the Black community needs to reform, and it needs to change for the better for our community and the country. So We'll just
Welcome
talk
to the
about that.
Republican Party.
So,
I am not a Republican.
So we're gonna wrap it up a little bit.
Right?
Is there anything else that you guys would like to say? Last thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Just for like young kids, like young high schoolers, try to get involved. No matter how scary it is, form your own ideas. If you're a Republican and you're a minority, don't be afraid to say you are. I know it seems kind
We'll take you. We need members.
If your family is full of Republicans and you happen to be a Democrat, don't feel like you have to be shamed or shown there's something wrong with you. Like, it's okay to have differing opinions, especially in this time. So just know that it's okay to speak your mind. That's how we become better as a country. That's all I have to say.
And I agree with everything you said for the most part. I know we can all have different opinions, but pretty much everybody's a Republican on tax day. But, I think I just want to end with one parting quote that kind of sums up kind of what we've been going at. And it's from Winston Churchill, so great individual. And he said, "You have enemies? Good. That means you stood up for something sometime in your life."
That's
So
a
just
really
remember
nice
that
quote.
when you live the rest of your life and strive to always do the best at whatever you decide to do, and don't let anyone stop you. And enjoy it. It's gonna be a fun ride.
Thank you. Well, thanks for coming on today. It was great having you guys on.
Thank you for having us.
So this concludes this episode of WPWP.